Hello, this is Deborah Cohen, a story and a song podcast, which has been airing every Sunday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube. Okay, we don't want to have the plug in my nose, right? Okay. And I'd like this to be down a little bit if it's possible. There you go. Hello, this is Deborah Cohen, a story in a song podcast. It has been airing every Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube and certain social media areas there for quite some time. And it's time for a change. It's time for a cool change, as they say. And being a musician, I'm still going to continue to write songs, but my direction is changing now that I've hit the milestone of senior citizen, of course. So, as people get older, sometimes their priorities change. And for me, it's better health. After COVID, I became very sedentary, lost my jobs teaching yoga in a brick and mortar location, became a little bit too fat, and let's call a spade, right? And ended up with breathlessness and torn meniscus, so I couldn't teach yoga anymore because it hurts to do the warrior poses. Okay, so what do I do when life serves you lemons? What do you do? Do you kind of feel like, woe is me? Well, yeah, those things, those thoughts will pass by. I hear them. Woe is me. Oh no, it's happening to me. I've thought that more than once. Oy, boy, I'm becoming an old person. No, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. That's the faith side of my mind. No. Not denial, just a better way to think about becoming a senior citizen. Instead of thinking about old, which is the way that a lot of people in America think, let's think about older, wiser, wisdom, prudence, the path to prudence. John Lennon once wrote a song about Dear Prudence. And, there's a lot of wisdom in that song if you really think about it. But I'm just trying to say that I'm not going away, Baruch Hashem. I am reinventing myself with the trauma, the injuries, everything else that happens to us in this life. Lord knows we have to struggle unless you're one of those elite that lives in the clouds and isolates yourself from the world, which I've tried that, and it gets to be too lonely. So I'm going to go on a different adventure. Tai Chi. If I can't teach yoga because of my knee, well, let's try something else. Tai Chi is becoming very holistically healthy for even senior citizens like me. So what if you can't bend your knee 90 degrees? Maybe you can bend it a little bit. Or maybe you are restoring, like I had to go through acupuncture and chiropractic to get to the point where I was able to do Tai Chi. So I'm excited about this. And if you are a Tai Chi practitioner, or maybe you've never tried it and you'd like to learn about Tai Chi for yourself, well, my podcast will broadcast the same time, Sundays at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, but not on my music channel, Deborah Cohen Music. No, not on that one. It's on my health channel. What? I have another YouTube channel. The handle is at Energy Lifewave. So look for me, Deborah Cohen, streaming Sundays at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. I just started this past week, and the first thing we're talking about, this is Tai Chi Yang Style 24 form. I have a lot to learn. I'm excited about it, but I'm going to offer classes online. starting with teaching each pose individually and then connecting them together in a flow. I love to flow. I still love to play for peace. I play for peace. I pray for peace. I make merchandise. You can check out my apparel and other unique gifts on Amazon or Redbubble. Just look for DCM Music. D like in Deborah, C as in Cohen, M for music. DCM Music. And let's see what else. You can check out my website, my music website, deborahcohenmusic.com. And don't forget, I've got my memoir released now, part 1, or we're calling it series 1. You can find my books at deborahcohenbooks.org. And my temporary Tai Chi website is taichikindness.kit, KIT.com. I'm calling my business Tai Chi Kindness because some people that say, especially this is directed at those believers that say that they're believers, whether it be whoever your Messiah is, but you haven't gone down the path of prudence yet and you're lacking in kindness and you pick on people like me that are different. We're called neurodivergent people. We are the ones that are picked on usually. But you know what? I've spent my whole life trying to be me. You be you, me be me. I've even made a t-shirt about it because people want me to be like them. I don't want to be like anybody else. Do you? Don't you want to be who God designed you to be? And you know what? When you do that, you're going to get some flack from the cliques. They're everywhere. They don't go away. They've been there since I've been born. They'll be there after I pass on. So let's get stronger and find out who we are. Our job while we're on planet Earth is to find out what gifts have been bestowed to each one of us individually and how they can help us tikkun olam collectively. And you need to have strong leadership while you're doing this exploration because otherwise your dreams are going to get quashed by the clique. I know that's what made me a nomad because, there's a teaching out there somewhere that says you are in your setting for now, your place, your honeycomb, collecting the sparks of the local community, distributing the sparks, you becoming united with your group, your congregation. But over time, some of us, not all of us, but some of us have gathered as much as we can glean to learn, to grow. You need ingredients like a plant. Think of yourself as a plant in your garden. And if your soil gets stale or lacking nutrients, sparks, whatever, you start to realize that if you stay in this garden, you're going to wither away. So you pull yourself out of that garden. It's a struggle because human beings like to stay. Some people don't like change. Not everybody's like David Bowie. Changes. I thrive on changes. Changes every day. We're growing. Didn't Hashem say that we, his children, are changed from glory to glory? Imago Dei in Latin, B'Tselem Elohim in Hebrew. Changed from glory to glory. That means every day, if you spend enough time in the Word of God, something will illumine. A dead space will become illumined. And eventually, over time, if we continue to seek the truth, seek the Word, seek the Torah, other parts of ourselves, our spirits, the dead battery syndrome, those that walk around with a dead spirit, they don't know that they need to be awakened. They're happy living in just the physical realm. They like living in the flesh, and they want to appease themselves. Gimme, gimme, gimmes, the gimmes. I Me Mine. George Harrison wrote a song about it. I Me Mine. But some of us hear the call. Hineni. We're awakened. I heard the call when I was standing in the Catholic Church pre-Vatican II, before I ever knew what was happening to me, standing in the communion line at the High Mass, and I not so much heard the call as felt the presence of God. It made me weep incredibly. Didn't know what was wrong with me because my mother brought me up to believe that crying is a sign of weakness. So you can imagine the battle I was going through as a child before the 8th grade I'm talking about, because in the 8th grade, Catholics make confirmation. And at that point, I left the church for what I saw was a lot of things that just didn't work for me, you know. And that's what I'm talking about, full circle. You get to a point in a congregation where, okay, I was doing great. I was excited for however long it takes. And then it's a stalemate. It's like you don't fit in anymore. When God changes you, the place you're in, this happened to me when I was in a new wave band in the 80s. I'm like, okay, I'm going into the rock scene because I love rock and roll. Put another dime in the jukebox, baby. Yes, our band even opened for Joan Jett in the 80s at the Rat in Kenmore Square, I think it was, in Boston. That was the place to play. That and CBGB's were my places to play. I'm glad I had that time. I just wish I'd kept the button on my guitar strap. I don't know what happened to that, but anyway. So yeah, I get to a point where with that lifestyle that I almost burned out by drugs and the party lifestyle. But God was there again to pick me up. I heard the call, and this time it was God asking me for a greater commitment. Okay, Lord, I think I need to quit this lifestyle. It's burning me out. I think I've learned my lesson. I love this lifestyle, but it's a dead end for me. Not for everybody. I mean, come on, look at the Rolling Stones. They're still going at it. I mean, amazing is all I can say. But for me, it just wasn't what I was gifted to do by God. God had other plans for me. So I could have stayed in that lifestyle and withered away, become another Amy Winehouse, or change, seek God, find out why you're here. You and I individually, and everybody individually, each has a certain gift, like a puzzle. There's one piece that's you, there's another piece that's me. And the whole puzzle with all of those different pieces become the whole picture, become one, echad, one with God. Even though we're different, we somehow piece together if we believe. You've got to have faith to do this. So I made the choice to seek God in a greater way and started dabbling in Christianity, and then went to Israel. That's when I found out in 1999 that, whoa, Jesus Christ was a Jew? I never heard that. In my whole experimenting with Christianity, all the different brands, they call them SECTS, which, by the way, is the title of my new memoir, Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll. But it's not SEX. I have a couple perverts online that say, wait a minute, this book doesn't have any sex in it. I'm like, I guess you didn't read the title, SECTS. God, they're everywhere. Boy, boy. So anyway, yeah, I came back from Israel and I'm like, whoa, I know the book that Jesus taught from. It was not the New Testament. That wasn't written till 60 years after he died. It's the Torah. I mean, have you ever heard a pastor teaching the New Testament and connecting the dots to what Jesus was actually teaching from the Torah? I mean, it would take a lot of research, right? They don't teach that in cookie cutter seminary. I mean, What a shame. Yeah. To not connect the source of what Jesus Christ taught. The book he was teaching from was and is the Torah. So, for the Christians out there, you need to understand that you don't replace Judaism. Judaism is the foundation of the Christian Bible. And your Messiah, I'm talking to Christians, is Jewish. He lived a Jewish life. He had a Jewish name. It wasn't Jesus Christ. So it was Yehoshua, if you want to know. It was not Yeshua. That's a transformed translation because Yeshua means salvation. So instead of teaching his birth name in Hebrew as what it was, Yehoshua, it was changed just a little bit. So you believers out there would think that the Bible is talking about Yeshua. No, that was not his birth name, Yeshua. That is a name that was hijacked from the Hebrew language and put on this person of Jesus Christ so that the Christians believe that he is the salvation of the world. Okay, if you still believe that, but find out what his real name is. This is why, I'm a real nitpicker about learning people's names in their native tongue. It's so important to know the mother tongue. If you say you're a follower of God, the God of Israel, you have to know Hebrew. I'm studying. There's a lot of resistance because who wants to study a new language unless you have an interest in that, but you need to know Hebrew and you need to do word studies. If you don't want to become fluent, at least learn the alphabet and learn what words mean from Hebrew, the original context, not what's been changed, as Jesus said to the Nicolaitans, beware of the doctrines of men, because they change the original intention of the Bible to suit their denomination. It's a business. And it's no different with Judaism. I used to think there was only one kind of Jew. How naive was I? When I started dabbling in Judaism after I came back from Israel, I'd ask different Jews, what is a Jew? Because I didn't really know. The Bible, is it Romans 2:28 that tells you a true Jew is a person that's had a circumcision of the heart. Okay, God, not only does God ask us to circumcise our heart, but also God will circumcise your heart if you study to show yourself approved, so that in every situation you have the answer from the Bible, not from your pastor, not from your rabbi. You have to study yourself. God will illumine the words to you when you are studying, and I can vouch for that. Things that you heard, for example, right now I'm stuck on Ki Tisa, and this is like Jews would know what I'm talking about here. It's the section of the Bible, is it Exodus 34, where Moses is going up to the mountain for the second time. After he came down the first time, Moses I'm talking about, he got PO'd because he saw these people that had just experienced God in the physical realm. They got tired of waiting for Moses. He's up there with God doing the 10 Commandments. They're like, it's been too long. It's been 40 days. We don't know what happened to him. Does this sound familiar? Let's make ourselves a golden calf. Oh, and Aaron went along with it. Oh my God. Aaron. So Moses got so mad, he threw the tablets on the ground and they crumbled and crashed into a bazillion pieces. And he made this, I don't know, concoction of gold or whatever. He melted the calf and put it in this potion and made all these people these abominable people that were worshiping something else drink this. God is in his mercy called Moses back up to the mountain. This is in Ki Tisa, if you're interested. I never saw this before because it's never been taught to me. I'm not saying it's never been taught. I just haven't been in a place where it's been taught. Okay. And I very clearly see last week, God asked Moses to make 2 tablets hewn, Hewn, and come back up to the mountain, and God himself is going to write on these 2 tablets. Now, I've been around rabbis that aren't sure if God wrote on the tablets, but I am seeing it when I read it for myself. God said to Moses, I will write on those 2 tablets myself. And not only that did God do, but he stood with Moses on the mountain, just him and Moses. God stood in the cloud of glory and announced and spoke his holy name to Moshe Rabbeinu. Do you know that? Adonai, Adonai, Verachum Vechanun, Erech Apayim. It goes and goes and goes. It's in the Maksor. If you're a Jew, you should know what that says. And I don't have it down pat either. If I messed up the words, forgive me. This is like new information for me. It's always been in the Bible, but it has only recently illumined to my spirit. And I'm going to write a song about it because it stayed with me. We've gone on to a different parsha this week, but I'm still looking at these words in Hebrew and marveling at God who said these words. Why do we only say them, if at all, on Yom Kippur? Why do we only say them once a year? God, he said that we can say them to him anytime we need to get closer to God. Tshuva. Do you only want to get closer to God once a year? Or minute by minute? Excuse me. And this will blow your socks off if you're a Jew listening. You know, when is the first time that I heard those words? God is merciful, full of compassion and tender mercies. His mercies are new every morning. I don't have it down verbatim yet because I haven't memorized it. I'm trying to memorize this section of God's talking to Moshe Rabbeinu. The first time I heard those words in English, years ago, probably in the 90s, Mahalia Jackson said them on stage in between songs she was singing to the public. I heard her say those words. They sounded very tender to me. But I didn't know where they came from. I just thought she was speaking from her heart. And she was, because she knew where those words came from. At that time, I did not, but I always remembered what she was saying. And last week, it finally connected when I saw it and read it in Kitisa. Mahalia Jackson, a wonderful Black gospel singer. She was quoting the Torah in English, but she was quoting the Torah. She knew that it was okay to say the 13 attributes of God, even if it wasn't Yom Kippur. And I think that is so amazing. I love Mahalia even more for that. Those tiny words that she said in between a song mattered that much to me. So I'm hoping that some of you are listening and actually hearing what I'm saying. I will still, on my new channel, Tai Chi kindness. I will teach primarily Tai Chi, but I will still be writing songs and teaching, probably in the future, in a podcast with my husband, Marty. We're just in the talking stages about it now. For those of you that are truly interested in what I've been talking about, the Bible for Jews and Christians. Let's stop fighting about who's right and who's wrong, who's the Messiah and who's not, and agree on the book, the Torah, the actual book that Jesus Christ taught from, the actual book that is for every one of us in this planet, regardless of what you believe. The Torah was left as a manual for mankind to learn how to live in love. Not an ooey gooey love, although that can be part of it, but love defined by Hashem is simply loyalty. If you will obey my commandments, then this will happen. It's an if and then relationship with the God of Israel. So if this interests you, continue to watch. The new podcast will not be called A Story in a Song. Maybe I'll do another post video here to let you know when we're starting to broadcast live, my husband and I. But if you're interested in Tai Chi, let me show you my new logo. Tai Chi kindness. Yes. Now on my YouTube channel, the handle is @EnergyLifeWave. So thank you for listening. I didn't plan to go that long, but that's okay, right? This is important stuff. And I hope you'll listen, learn Tai Chi with me, and hopefully I'll be offering classes online and locally. Right now I'm in Clearwater, Florida, but having the spirit of a nomad like Abraham, a forefather. Who knows where God's going to send me and my husband next? Soon, and very soon, we shall see. Thank you for listening. And let me share my newest song, which is I processed because I was being picked on for being different again and again and again. It never goes away. Unless you want to be like somebody else that's picking on you, then you can join their club. I think it's called a gang, but they disguise themselves as Bible study groups even. You just don't know where they're going to be hiding. It's the wolf in the sheep's clothing. They have all that outer visual holiness. They act holy. They even talk holy. But when you get to know them, they start spewing daggers. You can tell by what people say. Give them time enough, and by their words, you will know them. Yeah. Okay, so this is my song that's coming out because of the recent bullying situation I experienced, and it's called Neuro Spicy because that's a buzzword right now, and being neurodivergent, I can use that title validly. Take a listen.
I open doors with trembling hands, just hoping to belong. My whispers cut like sharpened glass when I don't fit your song. You call me strange, you call me soft, as if there's something wrong. I walk with my heart on my sleeve with a message of love. Still I bleed when my kindness is twisted, and I've had enough.
The memoir that bridges three worlds most people never see together. The underground new wave music scene, the raw reality of trauma and healing, and the unexpected, often miraculous spiritual encounters that shaped Deborah Cohen into the woman she is becoming today. Check it out. Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll. Now available in online stores near you.